Hi, I'm Rich Adams. I'm the owner of Round Town Bicycles, and we're here today to discuss bicycle safety. Well, the first key to bicycle safety is having your bicycle in good working order. So when I am going to ride a bike, the first thing I do, squeeze the brakes and roll the bike backward and forward, make sure that they stop. Squeeze the tires, make sure they're firm. There's a pressure reading on the tire if you're going to pump them up. You want to have proper air pressure in your tires. You want to make sure your chain is clean, lubricated, so that the gears shift smoothly and the bike drives nicely. Some common issues with bikes are low air pressure for sure, and when you ride a bike with low air pressure, it's much easier to get a flat tire. Your best defense against flat tires is proper air pressure. I like to lift the wheel and spin them and make sure the brakes aren't rubbing, because if the wheel is not true, then it can rub the brakes and slow you down. And I also make sure that the bike pedals. If the chain is jammed, then the bike won't pedal and you could fall. New bikes are equipped with reflectors. It's required by law that they have to have reflectivity, the front and the back and both sides. So it'll have a front reflector, a rear reflector, it'll have reflectors on the pedals, and it'll have two wheel reflectors. And those are very effective when cars shine their headlights on the bike. Blinky lights, as I call them, are basically lower lumen lights that are for people to see you. Okay, and this is a good example of one. It's not going to light your way, but it's going to be able to see people. So we really recommend having blinky lights, white for the front and red for the rear. There's a whole host of those lights, and they're typically around 25 lumens or less. But when you get up to 500, 600, 1,000 lumen lights that exist, they're more so for lighting your way in the dark, used as a headlight. Okay? And they can either be attached to the handlebar of the bike, or they can be attached right to your helmet. And this is really effective when the trail turns. Of course, it's very important to wear a helmet always when you're riding a bicycle. And then helmets, they typically are supposed to last 3 to 5 years because of the UV radiation will degrade a helmet. And most helmets are one crash helmet, basically. If you fall and hit your head on the pavement with a helmet, they tell you to replace it. Along with the helmet, I like to wear sunglasses, and they keep the dust out of your eyes or bugs. And obviously sun and sun glare, they're good for it too. And then we like to wear gloves, padded gloves. It's more comfortable with a padded glove, but also in the case if you fall down and everyone puts their hands out, and that can really save your hands. And then reflective clothing is also excellent to wear because drivers definitely give you a wider berth when you're wearing brighter colors and reflective clothing. So the last thing on personal safety equipment while cycling is a road ID. This is a really great idea for people who ride alone. They come in various attachments. They can attach to your running shoe or your ankle or your wrist, and it's a really great idea, and they're very durable, and I think you should not ride by yourself on the road without a road ID. When you're riding on a bike path such as the dike that has no motorized traffic on it, but it has a lot of people doing different activities like running, like walking a dog, like cycling, like rollerblading. It's common practice to stay to the right on the trail and then pass on the left. And then typically for a cyclist who rides faster than, for instance, a runner or a walker, that you slow down to approximately their speed, 3 to 5 miles an hour, especially if they don't know you're coming. People ride with earbuds, they're listening to podcasts, they don't hear you. So it's very important to either have a bell or call out to them well in advance. And then another thing that people don't realize is that if there's a heavy wind, your voice doesn't carry. So if the wind is in your face, be advised that you really have to call and get their attention ahead of time. Here I am on your left. No worries. On your left. Thank you. then when you're on a road with traffic, in the state of Pennsylvania, you're a, quote, motorized vehicle, which means you have to follow all the rules of the road, and you have to stop at stop signs and red lights, and the only really specific instructions for cyclists is stay to the right. And motorists have to give you 4 feet of space when they're passing you, and that means motorists are allowed to cross a double yellow line to go around a cyclist. So Around Town Bicycles, we've been in business for 20 years. We do everything bicycle related. If you're looking for a new bike, remember that big box stores offer bikes that only come in one size, and they're poorly assembled. We pride ourselves on expert assembly, and our bikes come in multiple sizes, and we will size you on the bike properly and fit you on the bike, and you can test ride the bike. And we'll give you advice on what style of bike would be best for you. Once we know how are you going to use the bike, where are you going to ride it, and we size you based on not just your height, it's more your leg length and your torso length and your arm length and your flexibility. And that way we can really get you a bike that's comfortable for you. And enjoy the bike, don't forget that. As a cyclist, you got to be predictable. That's one thing you should remember when you're riding. So try to ride in a straight line. Be predictable. Give people notice of what you're doing. And then I guarantee you'll be safer that way.